Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're well. Now, I need and want a power meter on my bike this winter to help me train more efficiently, more effectively, and smarter to hopefully ride faster next summer. I want a power-based crank system for accuracy and reliability and replace the old Shimano on my Carnago over there. I want the choice of crank arms down to 165. I want the choice of chain rings from compact, semi-compact to standard. And I've been shopping on today's sponsor, AliExpress, and found this gem from Magene. It costs just £225, and I've been greatly impressed with the results and found no downsides. So let me show you what's in the box, fit it to my Carnago, go for a ride, get some test data, and share the results of that testing and my verdict on this Magene power meter. So you get two boxes, the cranks themselves with a power meter, and the chain rings of your size. I start with the cranks first. And here we go. So very nicely presented indeed. Looks good. There's your quick start guide. Some assembly is required. Doesn't look too terrifying. We'll come to that in a moment. So here we go. This is the Spider, the power meter. This is the Magic. And that's what you're paying for really. Charge port there is ANT Plus Bluetooth compatible, IPX7 waterproof, a claimed runtime of 300 hours. So yeah, that looks good. And your crank arms here are machined from aluminium with channels there to save weight. And the spindle is a 24mm, so Shimano compatible, so straight swap for the old Tegra on my Carnago. So it should be easy to install and looks very nice in machine indeed. Very high quality. I've gone for 170 cranks, not brave enough to go 165 just yet. I have 170s on my Carnago, so a nice comparison. Sticking with the same size cranks. PES, not the best branding, quite bold. That could be an issue for some people perhaps, but the rest of it looks really nice. So Spider power meter P515. So yeah, my criticism really is that the PES is a bit loud. So those are the cranks, the power meter, and then you have your chain rings. And I've gone for the same 52-36 as on my Carnago right now. So nice, easy, straight swap. And there we go. They come out. So two chain rings, separates. So that looks very nice. My big question mark is around the shift quality of these compared to Shimano. Shimano put all these ramps and pins, but we have pins there and sort of ramp profiling there and all that material being removed to save weight. So the shifting quality is something I would definitely look to assess compared to Shimano, which is the gold standard for shifting. So chain rings and a power meter. Let me get these on the bike and then we'll hit the road. Installing the cranks on the bike is very straightforward indeed, and with Shimano on the bike beforehand, it's a like-for-like replacement. If you follow the instructions, you should have no issues, and while the installation looks the same as Shimano with that preload cap, there's one key difference. Where a Shimano non-drive side crank arm had two pinch bolts, this crankset has one, and that gave me initial concerns around how well that crank arm will stay attached to the axle. And I read some reports online of cranks coming apart during owners' test rides. But for me, following those instructions carefully, I've had no issues with cranks coming detached from the spindle, and over a few weeks of testing, they've been just fine. And then for what I like to use, I've got some testing data from riding indoors and outdoors to share with you, but a more general thought on what I like to use. And compared to Shimano, riding both indoors and outdoors, I honestly can't tell the difference. In terms of stiffness, when you're really cranking along the road, either up a climb, out the saddle, or sprinting your mates for that town sign, there's no difference in stiffness. The stiffness from the crank arms is as good as Shimano or Tegra. And when it comes to shifting performance, Shimano is the gold standard for gear changing, especially at the front. But honestly, over the last few weeks of testing, both here in the work stand and out on the open road, the shift performance of these Magene chain rings is very good, and I would say the same as Shimano. So installation, performance and shift quality is very good, but what is a power meter itself like? Well, let's find out. I've used my very trusty Wahoo PowerLink dual-sided power meter pedals to test. Let me show you on screen. Using this website called Compare the Watts, where you can upload 2 fit files to. And let's open it up to a bigger screen. And here we can see I did a 26-minute session with some small efforts there and a steady session just there. And as you can see, we've got the Garmin measuring the Magene and the Wahoo measuring the Wahoo pedals, and they do track very accurately. There's no crazy spikes or dropouts from either power meter. And we can see that the average watts for the Magene power meter is 200 versus 195 for the Wahoo pedals. So a 5-watt difference in the average power in a 26-minute indoor session. There's a bigger difference in the minimum and maximum power output, 8 versus 2 and 426 versus 404, but still pretty close. And if we look at the data, you can see how smoothly and how well they do track each other. And if I zoom in a bit, what I can see is generally the Magene power meter tracks a bit higher, but it's fairly consistent. There's no major deviation from the Wahoo, so they are tracking very closely indeed. If we go to this little spike here of 329 versus 300, so a 29-watt difference, but it quickly comes back down to track very closely, 312, 301, 304, so very close indeed. And if you're using just one power meter, which is fairly normal, then I think the consistency of data here is very good indeed. Yes, it does read a bit higher, but all power meters will read higher or lower if you test them all across the board. So looking at that data, I'm very happy with the performance and the consistency of the power reading from Magene. And that's the main thing, that consistency is very good and you're getting accurate and repeatable power from one ride to the next, week in, week out, month in, month out. That's the main thing with a power meter, that 300 watts in January is 300 watts in July, which over the last few weeks has been the case with the Magene. So in summary, the Magene power meter chainset does impress. Very good performance across the board. Installation is easy. The weight is comparable to the Shimano Ultegra it replaced. It doesn't look terrible, but not amazing. Shifting performance is very good, and the general stiffness when you're smashing out the power is very good. And the power data is accurate and consistent and reliable in my experience as well. So yeah, it scores really well. Then you factor in the price. All that for just £225. And to put that price in perspective, a Shimano Ultegra power meter is £1,000 retail, and Shimano power meters don't have the best reputation. And these Wahoo pedals are about £900, so a lot cheaper than all the other main contenders in the power meter market right now. And if you want to buy yourself a Magene power meter right now, then today's sponsor, AliExpress, is a place to buy bargains like this Magene power meter and wheels, handlebars, and loads of other top quality cycling products and accessories. And right now, their Black Friday sale has started, meaning even bigger discounts for you lucky buyers. And I've even got some exclusive discount codes for you lucky viewers as well on screen right now, saving you even more money, up to £35 of some of the best cycling products on AliExpress. There's more too. If you join my team on AliExpress, you can save up to 10% cash back on everything you buy, and the more points you earn just by signing into the website, browsing the products and placing orders, the more cash back you get. And it's super easy to join my team as well. There's a link down below in the description of today's video, or enter this code on screen right now into the search bar on AliExpress, or simply scan this barcode and you join my team in seconds and save even more money. So get shopping now at AliExpress and save yourself a fortune on some of the best cycling upgrades. Thanks for watching.